music.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Good morning. It is a beautiful, somewhat beautiful Sunday morning. Storm clouds are trying to roll in all over New Orleans right now, but it is not a rainy day. It is not a sad day. It's not a gloomy day. It's a great Sunday morning. And of course, we're here for the regular coffee and tea stream, but just not any old coffee and tea stream. We got a lot to recap. We have a lot to recap. What is that? How did I swear StreamYard be doing some new things randomly. Um so a lot of great things going on right now in Louisiana. Spring just wrapped up. The draft just wrapped up. You have the baseball season still trying to figure out its way, you know. Man, good morning, Carl. How you doing, man? Saints did a great job with the draft, and we're actually gonna talk about that here in a second. I want to get the baseball stuff out of the way. LSU went to Starkville. They fought for two very, very hard Fridays and a Saturday. 2 days, two games in a row. This team fought, took a lead, got the starters out the game very, very quickly, but then ended up just not holding on. Relievers come in, shuts the lineup down, and you make costly mistakes, whether it be in the field or in the batter's box, and they get out. Right? So you drop this series. Hopefully, you got to get a win today. I don't know how they pull it together, but you got to figure out a way to get a win today. So hopefully they do something. They do something to get this win here today. Game starts, I think, for 1 or 1:30 today. So I will be checking in on the Tigers today. I don't know who's going to take the bump. I mean, you literally emptied the tank Friday and again last night trying to get those wins and secure those victories. But here we are. So let's talk for a second about this NFL draft. The Saints did an amazing job. I am so pleased with the New Orleans Saints. I went to sleep last night so proud of this organization. Carl says, I've been watching LSU baseball since 1986. This is not looking good. I mean, Carl, anytime, think about this for a second, Carl. Paul mentioned this last night. David mentioned it last night on Go Deep Dive. You started the season off by setting a record. This is Jay Johnson's first team to win 8 games in a row. To start the season off 8-0. This is Jay Johnson's first 8-0 season. This team. This is also the first team in LSU history since 1968 to lose 8 straight SEC games. That's an amazing side of the coin to be on. To be the first team to under Jay Johnson's tenure to start the season off with 8 straight wins, and also to be the first team in the modern era of LSU in my entire lifetime. You say you've been watching LSU baseball since 1986, Carl. I was born in 1985. So literally, since 20 years preceding my birth, an LSU team has not lost 8 consecutive SEC baseball games until this one did last night. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's what this LSU baseball team is. Good morning, Alex. Thank you for being here this morning. Just wanted to shout out real quick the No. Definitely proud to be part of the No team now, the No network that is establishing. The No is growing at a rapid pace. You got great pods over there, great guys over there. I will be writing and contributing to the No covering the Saints and LSU. And of course, the pod is now being housed and distributed on the No for all of our live streams. We'll also have our uh, our pod on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts too. So a lot of growth going on around here, and I'm more than excited to be a part of the No. So writing for the No and Canal Street Chronicle. So please go find all of the articles that you need, all of my insights and thoughts and opinions on all things Who Dat on the No and all things Tigers on the No, and as well as always here on Timeouts and Tangents. You see it right there, right there, right? All distributed on the No. So please go follow them. Go to the website, sign up, and follow the blogs because they are smoking right now. Carl says, I don't know what happened to the team that went to Jacksonville. They stayed in Jacksonville. They never came back to Baton Rouge. They stayed in Jacksonville. That's the only logical thing I can say. What's up, Joker? Thank you for being here, man. I hope you went to Seven Brew already or got your energy drink. I definitely have my Venti London Fog. So hopefully you got your energy drink, get your morning rolling. Look, I went to bed early last night. LSU gave up that grand slam. I turned off the TV. I went took a shower. I laid down. I was gonna try to go to sleep, and then I couldn't because I can't lose faith in LSU. I just can't. It's hard for me to lose faith in LSU. So I turned the stream back on my YouTube channel, watched the end of the game, watched Daniel Harden pinch hit for Eddie Yaman. What? What are we talking about? Mark, thank you for being here. Mark says that Mickey Loomis proposed to Gail Benson at an NFL draft podium. I mean, basically, the way he drafted, he may as well have. Um, Probably doing. Joker says he's probably gonna do a watch along today. If you do, man, I might pop in. So just shoot me the link. Um, I just want to say that like it was hard for me to give up on him. Watching Eddie Yaman get pinch hit for after you saw him hit a 3-1 blast in the game and get Daniel Harden up, who's hitting sub 200. Look, sometimes I think we let the numbers dictate things too much in baseball. I numbers have a place. I get it. There is a metric, but sometimes the numbers can fool you. You don't have to outthink the game. Just play the game. Just play the game. Ride a hot hand. Let it roll. I would have loved to see Yaman come up in that situation. I get it. He's been there before and he struck out, but let the kid develop. Like, I don't know what he needs to continue to do to get more love or respect on this team, but I'm not going to question Jay Johnson. And like I said, I'm not going to spend too much on baseball because there's some things that I want to dig into a little bit just to get a little bit more information on. Let us talk about this Saints draft real quick. Um, Brothers and sisters, Joker asked me last night while I was in the middle of writing an article what my grade was. How did I feel about the Saints draft? And overall, I give them a B plus. And I'm going to tell you what elevates my grade to a B plus on this Saints draft. That trade that they pulled off for Tyree Wilson from the Raiders is a B plus trade. That I had the draft as a B overall. Them making that trade made me bump it up to a B plus. Why? You use a fifth round pick and you got two players out of it for this year. If they would have sent that fifth round pick and got Tyree Wilson and a seventh rounder for next year, then yeah, I would have left it flat at a B. But a fifth round pick to get a developmental prospect who has very sky high potential. When you look at Tyree Wilson, go back to Brandon Staley's defense when he had a Leonard Floyd. That's kind of the mold that you're looking for with Tyree Wilson. You're looking to have him emerge and find the success, a repeatable success, like in what you did with Chase Young. Chase Young was drafted in the top 10. Chase Young had a bunch of injuries, couldn't stay on the field, didn't produce or live up to round that first round draft pick status that he had, right? He didn't live up to that in Washington. That's why he got shipped off to San Francisco, and then San Francisco moved on from him. Can you repeat the success that you just had with Chase Young? I think in a system with a coach like Brandon Staley, you will see Tyree Wilson emerge. Look, Tyree Wilson, even at Texas Tech, he's never in college had a double digit sack type season, right? So even with this potential, even with this draft, you were drafting him for potential. The most sacks he had in a season at Texas Tech was 7, and he repeated that his junior and senior year. He had two 7-sack seasons. But what you are looking for is a guy to apply consistent pressure off the edge. And Carl, you ask a great question. Does this mean the end of Cam Jordan? No, it does not. If anything, I think it shows me that Cam Jordan is still a piece of this rotation, because if we're not expecting Tyree Wilson to come in here and give us 10 sacks this season. Tyree Wilson got traded. Instead of taking that 5th round pick and drafting a player that could produce 4 sacks, look at it like this. You drafted Isaiah Foskey in the 2nd round, right? Good morning, Babin. Thank you for being here, man. Happy Sunday morning. You drafted Isaiah Foskey in the 2nd round on the hopes that he could have success similar to what Tyree Wilson has been able to accomplish. Isaiah Foskey gave you absolutely nothing, and you had to keep him around for at least 3 years because of the investment that you made in that 2nd round pick. Well, if you use a 5th round pick for a guy, you're hoping to see him stick around for 2, maybe 3 years and develop into something potentially, right? You're not expecting him to be a day one starter. You're expecting him to come along and at least contribute in some kind of a way on defense and maybe even special teams to solidify that 5th round pick status. I mean, you're doing that right now. You took your 5th round pick and you got a guy who has a legitimate high ceiling, low floor, but a high ceiling. So here he is. He's on the last year of his rookie contract. The Saints are not going to pick up his 5th year option. So he's got 1 year to prove himself. That's excellent. Come in and show me that you can do it. And then, let's say it's going sideways, you get a guy like Cam Jordan to come back to help grow this young man and the other guys along in the room. And then next year's draft class, guess what the number 1 position that you're going to go after? Safety and potentially edge rusher. Because you loaded up on offense. You do not have to look for weapons next year. You eliminated that for next year. Mickey Loomis's approach was spot on beautiful. And I hate to say this, but I got to give this man his credit. I got to give this man his credit. I have to give him a round of applause. Mickey Loomis did his thing. The entire offseason, he addressed the needs on offensive line. He addressed the need at running back. He got rid of the older players that, weren't really building towards the future, but had an opportunity potentially to go and win somewhere else. He reinvigorated the roster with youth. He took the excuse of the offense not having enough weapons and flushed it with not just weapons, but with young, developing weapons to grow around a quarterback on a rookie contract. That's the thing that we all have to understand that's at play too. This isn't a win now type of team, but this is a you better win soon type of move, right? They need the talent on this roster to grow and develop, centered around the growth and development of their young quarterback who is on a rookie contract. Because we all know the moment that we pay Tyler Shuck his extension, going to get tight to start. You're going to have to start leaning heavier into draft classes, finding and hitting on that one player that's going to make a difference. So you got to have all these other positions filled and fleshed out. And I love the approach that he took. This year, he went heavy on offense. I would imagine next year he's going to use most of the capital to go heavy on the defensive side of the ball. If these guys like a Kool-Aid McKinstry, a Jonas Sinker, a Danny Stutzman, a Pete Werner are not developing at an elite level, they're going to get blown out of here. They're going to get blown out of here. So the approach that they took with this draft as a whole was fantastic. The approach that they took, the draft, I give Mickey Loomis and the Saints a B plus. The offseason, I'm giving him an A. I love the approach for the entire offseason. You have a running back that's aging, so what do? You convert that contract to where, hey, you got 1 year, so let's get it together. We got a system now in place to where you're going to be the guy. You along, and we bringing in some help with Travis Achan. So it's not all on you. Let's put you back into the position to where an offensive-minded coach can be creative, put you in positions to excel on your elite levels of skills, and see if you can't tap back into doing what you've done before. Every position group is flexible as well. All of your receivers can line up outside or inside on the slot, from the veterans in Chris Olave, Devon Vele, and now with Jordan Tyson, Bryce Lance, and even Varian Brown. Like, all of them have been flexible. Travis Achan, Alvin Kamara can line up and split out. Oscar Delp, Noah Fant, and even Jawan Johnson can all put their hand in the dirt, inline block, or be split out into the slot, play a wide or play a power wide inline to the tackle. And you can just go 13 personnel, you can go 12 personnel, you can go 21, you can go 22 personnel. You can do so much with the pieces that Mickey Loomis has brought in on this offense, and it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I love what the Saints have done this offseason. It's great. It's fantastic. And Carl Cat says, I got to give Gumsmack and Mickey some credit while holding my nose. Exactly. Like, I hate to do it. But you have to give him his credit. He did his big thing. And for him to open up the press conference yesterday by saying, we didn't trade up and we drafted an LSU player, so there shouldn't be any questions. He's hearing the noise from the crowd. As much as they want to acknowledge that they don't hear it, that they put blinders on, they put headphones on, they're not listening, all this other stuff. As much as they want to say and pretend like these things, like they're just going over their head, and you can swallow that up and move on. Like, they hear all that stuff. Carl Cat says it might be worth going back to the Dome for a few games this season. Am I right? No, Carl. Like, seriously, I've legitimately considered buying season tickets again, but because of the coverage that I'm going to be doing on the team, it's going to be very difficult for me to do. But I am going to a couple games. I don't stay. Unfortunately, I don't stay too far from the Dome, so that means I have to leave some games early so that way I can get back here to do post-game shows and get the articles pushed out. But yes, it is definitely worth going back to the Dome. I'll tell you this: I went to, so my last season having season tickets was 2023, and that season was, horrible. The vibes were bad. You weren't excited to be there. You knew that they were going to give up the game some kind of way, shape, or form, and they did. So I stopped because I was not supporting Dennis Allen. I didn't like the vision. Mickey was still in win now mode for some reason, and it was terrible. I went back last season. I went to the Giants game, right? Spencer Rattler's first win, the team's first win of the season. And even in that, it was great. It was fun. I cannot wait to get back into the Dome and experience this young team and seeing it live and in person. The vibes in the dome are going to be high. I went to the Crawfish Cook-Off Fest yesterday for the draft party that the Saints have at the facility, and man, like the fan base, they are excited. They are thrilled to see what Mickey Loomis is doing. Like the people are excited. So I'm telling you, the dome is going to be back to feeling like a dome field advantage. These young players are about to get baptized in what it truly means to have the dome rocking. Like this is going to be so much fun. Batman says, I can't believe they actually drafted somebody from LSU. No, seriously, me either. And shocking enough, and we'll talk about this in a second, I thought that it was going to be Harold Perkins that was going to get drafted potentially to the Saints the way he was falling. I wasn't expecting Barry and Brown. You added a guy like Barry and Brown to this offense, to the special teams unit, and he's excited because of what a guy like Rashid Shaheed was able to do in black and gold. So he instantly knows what his role and expectation is, and he's going to get plays on offense because of his speed. This Saints team, these rookies are all fast. They're all burners. You drafted a receiver that ran a 4.340. You drafted a DB that runs a 4.240. Like these guys are going to be great. Joker says everyone excited about Tyson, me as well, but most excited about Delp as a drafted player. And Carla Cat says Delp is a poor man's Brock Bowers, LOL. Yeah, so let's get into some of these selections that the Saints made because while I was definitely excited about Jordan Tyson, I think overall I give that grade a B just because Caleb Downs was still on the board. But I understand now having standing on Sunday, looking back to Thursday, I see the vision that Mickey Loomis and the plan that he had in place was. They're comfortable with the DB room and the safety room overall and the guys that they have in there rolling in the next season. They alluded to that at the end of at the start of free agency in the offseason that the replacement for Alontae Taylor could be in-house. They're comfortable with that, so cool. I'm comfortable with it too. Let's rock, let's roll with it. Let's do our thing. Seeing that they went ahead and drafted Jordan Tyson, who I feel is the best wide receiver in this class, his explosiveness, his smoothness within routes, his ability to make contested catches, the idea of him and his vertical leaping ability and how smooth he's able to just stay in the air. That is something that's going to open up the receiver room and open up plays for a guy like Chris Olave. Olave's skill, DBs have to play off of him because he's so quick off the line and can win in his routes early. A guy like Jordan Tyson, defenders are going to have to come up and try to press him, and he's strong. This kid in his own interviews, just his own selfies. What's up, David? Thank you for being here this morning, man. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully Max is around so she can hear that you got to get her ice cream. Uncle Anthony says your dad has to get you ice cream. It is recorded. I will clip it and send it to you. So you have to get her ice cream, David. Seeing what he can do and hearing what he said in his interviews, he's excited to come do the dirty work. You got a receiver that's excited to block. I'm going to catch you. Don't think I'm not going to catch you, David. I know what time you got to go to dance class. I'm going to catch you. So he's excited to block. He's excited to dig out safeties on run plays. That's the type of receiver mentality that you want. He's not excited to go 90 yards to the house. He's not excited to cook somebody on a comeback route. He wants to go knock somebody's head off. I like that because the Saints want to run the ball. And when you have a receiver out there who wants to play in the run, it opens up the offense for play action passes. It puts them in the best position to win on those routes, especially when a corner has to come down and try to press that receiver. So Jordan Tyson, overall grade, a B, B+, phenomenal selection. I was excited about the prospect of adding a Jordan Tyson back in January. I felt like he was the best receiver in this draft class once the collegiate football season ended. just because of the playmaking ability that he was able to display against Texas in big games against Texas Tech in his freshman year at Colorado. Like the kid is a difference maker. So phenomenal job on day one. Day two was where they won the draft. You not the splashiest of picks. And the thing I love about it the most, right? I was expecting them to walk away with the corner and an edge rusher on day two. Nowhere in my mind that I think that Mickey Loomis was going to be, not going to say smart enough, but to see the forest for the trees because of how they've drafted in the past. Like they go for that. If it's not an offensive lineman, they go for that like surprise splash, raw athletic edge, or the corner that you weren't really expecting to be drafted. So I was expecting them to make a play at a corner, a guy who can fill in that star role. I was looking at a Keontae Scott. I was looking or expecting a Joshua Joseph, who was still on the board, to get selected by the Saints. But they didn't. They didn't. They went with Christian Miller, who I feel is probably the second best interior defensive lineman in this draft to the guy that the Texans drafted in, let me pull him up, in round one. Kansas City, Dallas, Houston. Where is it? I saw, no, not Keelan Rush. They drafted him in the second round. This was I love the Christian Miller pick. Love the Christian Miller pick. That was a phenomenal pick for me. Why? You needed an interior defensive lineman. Devon Gottschall is getting older. And while he was okay last year, he was not the best in the middle. You need a guy who's going to be able to stuff the run. This guy averages a 7.7 stuff rate in the middle. I mean, 7 out of 10 times, he's stuffing it. I don't know if y'all remember this, but the Saints as a whole were one of the best run-defending teams in the league. And as time wore down, because of the losses that you took on the interior, that is where you started falling apart. On defense, you have to stop the run. You have to stop the run first. If you don't stop the run, then guess what's going to happen? Caden McDonald, that's the D tackle I'm thinking about. If you don't stop the run, teams are going to bleed the clock on you. And it opens up the passing game and exposes your safeties and corners to having trouble covering receivers. And that we saw that happen. Look, we lost Alontae Taylor, but let's be honest, Alontae Taylor gave up a lot of passing yards when he was in pass coverage. A lot of that was because he was jumpy behind running plays too. Like he was looking to come up and hit somebody. And I love that. I love that in the safety and the nickel corner. I love that. But getting a guy like Christian Miller in the spot that you got him, filling a need that honestly, all of us knew was there, but we weren't anticipating on them addressing that early on, shows you how much of a priority that they have for that position. It is a linchpin in defenses. It is a nose tackle is quintessentially an offensive line's center. You're not going to hear their name called that often, and you shouldn't. But the linebackers behind them, they're the ones making the plays. They free up everybody else on the defense, the edge and the linebackers, to be able to come down and fill their gaps, play their responsibilities, and make the plays that they need to at the point of attack. Think about the New England Patriots defenses in the early 2000s. Vince Wilfork was that guy. Vince Wilfork maybe had 3 sacks his entire career. He wasn't a stat stuffer, but he was a line mover. He pushed the line backwards. He folded in offensive linemen and offensive lines. And if you can collapse the interior of the offensive line, you create chaos for the offense. You reestablish a line of scrimmage. So now instead of a run averaging 3 yards, it's averaging 2. So now they're playing behind the sticks because you can't get first down. Let me tell you, the goal of every offense is to get 3.5 yards. Why? Because by the time you get to third down at 3.5, you get 3.5, you are getting a first down. So if you prevent the offense from getting that 3.5, then guess what? They're facing third and long. Anything that's over 5 yards is a long distance. It's third and 6 or more, you're fighting. You're making the offense fight. You're putting them in an obvious pass situation. And that's where your edges, your blitzing safeties and corners, that's where defenses can get very creative. And that starts with a guy like Christian Miller. That pick in round 2, pick 42, not trading up, not packaging your picks, making that selection at that spot was fantastic for the Saints. I love it. And then what does he do? He gets on a local radio show. He gives one of the best Who Dat chants that you could ever hear. He's on TikTok dancing to New Orleans bounce music, becoming an instant fan favorite. My wife saw the video of him dancing to Big Frida and absolutely fell in love with it. Thought that he was the best pick that they made all weekend. So he's ingratiating himself into the culture. And look, that's exactly what people love to see. When you get these young guys coming in here and taking that collegiate mindset approach to the team, especially within New Orleans and Louisiana, when you're buying into the culture, that's making the fan base wrap their arms around you. That was an excellent job by the Saints making that pick. But the pick of picks, the one that sent this grade for day 2 from a B to an A for me is Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp is the most slept on tight end in this draft. I'm telling you, when I saw Oscar Delp as a true freshman, I thought to myself, how in the hell did Georgia replace Brock Bowers by cloning Brock Bowers? It is probably the biggest sin in Kirby Smart's career for not allowing Oscar Delp to be properly utilized at the University of Georgia. Oscar Delp is going to be your future starting tight end. 2022, he played in 13 games. 2023, he started 10 games. 24 receptions, 284 yards, 11 yards a catch, 3 touchdowns. 21 receptions in 2024, 248 yards, 11 yards a reception, 4 touchdowns. And this past season, 20 receptions, 261 yards, 13 yards per reception with a touchdown. You want to talk about underutilized? You mean to tell me every time this kid catches the ball, it's a first down? In 3 seasons as a starter, this kid only averaged 20 receptions a season. He played in 14 games a season. That's a catch and a half. That's ridiculous. And you know why? What I equate that to? When did Todd Monken leave Georgia? In 2023. After Oscar Delp's freshman year. So the last 3 years, the guy who helped Brock Bowers emerge as Brock Bowers was coaching for the Ravens. So Oscar Delp did not have an offensive coordinator who put Brock Bowers on the map. He didn't have that anymore. Well, guess what? He's going to get that in Kellen Moore and in New Orleans. Brock Bowers is a guy, but so is Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp is a guy. This pick by the Saints, the fact that, one, he fell to the 3rd round, He fell to pick 73, and they didn't have to trade up to go get. Great job by this organization and just letting the draft come to them. We all thought that with the addition of Noah Fant, we weren't going to add another tight end. And if we did, it was going to be a UDFA, some tryout guys, see if one of the guys in camp can make the roster. No. No. You got three tight ends. They're going to use all three tight ends. They're going to use them. That is a phenomenal pick. So your day 2 for the Saints was fantastic. You pick up what I feel is the best tight end in this draft. The one that has the most upside, the most potential, and has the least amount of usage on his body. A guy who can flex out, who can put his hand in the dirt. You can line him up wherever you need to, and then let the chips fall where they may. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What up, Pearsley? Thank you for being here, my guy. And then when you look at what the Saints were able to do yesterday in round 4 through 7. Yes, Joker. Definitely the next George Kittle. I can definitely see that for Oscar Duck. You can definitely see that for Oscar Duck. What the Saints were able to do in rounds 4 through 8, first of all, they entered the draft with 8 selections. And history tells us that when the Saints have that many picks, Mickey Loomis gets aggressive and they don't walk away with all those picks. Well, he made me out to be a liar. You walked in with 8 picks, you left out with 8 players. So, applause to you for that, sir. But the selections that they made were fantastic. I love them all. I give day 3 a B+. The first selection of day 3 was Jeremiah Wright, right guard from Auburn, who will be your future starting right guard. If Cesar Ruiz has to miss time, whatever game he gets hurt will probably be the last game he plays in as a Saint. Because the moment this kid gets an opportunity to start, he's not letting that job go back, and we as a fan base won't be comfortable seeing him come off the field. Does he have issues? Yes. Are there things he has to work with? Yes. Yes. Needs to get a little quicker on his footwork and in his technique. Needs to play a better pad level. Needs to be not so susceptible to speed and quickness on the inside and the pass setting opportunities. But he is a mean motherfucker. He's a mauler. He's exactly what you want on the interior. Strong, violent punch, good base, comes out of his hips. Shut up, Pearsley. Uses his hips very well. He's going to strike you and let you know he's right there. Right there. Hard pause. I know, bro. I know. So, Jeremiah Wright will be, at some point, your future starting right guard. He will be your right guard. And I love this pick. The moment that this man cracks the starting lineup, it's going to be hard to replace him. And it gives me faith in this offensive line. This offensive line now is solid. You have 3 rookies, or 3 young players. Taliesin Fuwanga in his 3rd year. Kelvin Banks going into his 2nd year. Jeremiah Wright will be his 1st year with 2 interior veterans and David Edwards. And, of course, your starting center, whose name is slipping my mind right now. Jesus Christ. I'm fried right now. We wouldn't be able to trade Ruiz for a peanut butter sandwich on toast right now. We'd have to ask for a one of those Uncrustables to get rid of Ruiz. So your starting offensive line is solid. Eric McCoy, that's what I'm looking for. It's solid. It's probably going to end up becoming one of the better position groups on this team. At some point, it's going to develop into that. Not this season, but within the next year or two, within the rookie contracts of Jeremiah Wright and Calvin Banks Jr., this will be one of the most solid offensive lines in the league, plain and simple. I love what they were able to do in that. When you look at the next picks, though, Bryce Lance from North Dakota State, a 6'3" speeding, 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver who can run a 4.3 40. Burner. Weapon. Tyler Shuck was out there throwing the mailman last season at the end of the year. Not going to be happening this season. This is a, okay, kid, prove it type of draft. The Saints went out this offseason and they said, all right, Tyler, you showed enough to make us believe. Well, we're going to invest. We went and got you David Edwards, Travis Achan to open up the run game. We went and got you Jordan Tyson, Bryce Lance, and Abarian Brown to help in the passing game and put them with Chris Olave, Devon Vele, and then we brought in Noah Fant and Oscar Delp as well. Go prove it. That's right, Carl. Carl says last season Saints had Amazon drivers as receivers. Exactly. Gig workers as receivers. And he was throwing dots. So imagine what these receivers are going to be able to do for him, right? A great receiver makes a quarterback right. Even when he's wrong. A bad pass looks like a back shoulder throw. A pass that's out of the range or shouldn't be thrown where it was, it makes it look like he put it in the only spot that his receiver could get to. That's the things that the announcers say. They paint the picture like the coach, like the quarterback threw the ball there. No, he put a pass up and the receiver just went and made a play. That's what these receivers are going to do. And getting a guy like Bryce Lance, and if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, yes, he's the younger brother of former top 5 pick Trey Lance. Getting a receiver like that in round 4, pick 136, great job to the scouts and to Mickey Loomis for making the selection. Piercy says, Kellen Moore definitely used a Jedi mind trick on Mickey to get those selections made. Yes. They must have tied Mickey up and put him in a closet somewhere to stop him from trading up so he can make these correct picks. Then you move on and you get a guy like Lorenzo Styles Jr. Lorenzo Styles Jr. is brother to one athletic top 5 pick, Sonny Styles. Yes, the same bloodline. Was a wide receiver at the University of Notre Dame, transferred to Ohio State, where he just started playing safety this year. Runs a 4.27. Guess what, guys? You don't just develop on college campuses. Players can develop in the pros too. And this guy here, I expect to become your star at some point. He's going to be your nickel. He's going to be on the field with the defense at some point. He's good. I like him a lot. So that was a great pick. Pick 172, round 5. Now, the Saints had 2 fifth-round picks. And instead of drafting an edge in this draft class, they did what I thought was one of the best opportunities that they could have done. They took pick 150 and flipped it for a guy that has top-end talent, like we talked about to start the show. Tyree Wilson is a guy that was drafted in the top 10. Freak athlete, 6'6", 235-pound, 40-pound outside edge, who can play defense. Do I think he needs to be in the right situation? Absolutely. But what did the Saints lose with that? Nothing. They gained all the opportunity. Because if it doesn't work with Tyree Wilson, guess what? He's gone next year. And what did you get out of it? You got a 7th-round draft pick, which you didn't have, and an opportunity to draft another player this season to see if he can fill in for your roster. That was a great move, an A-plus trade for you to take a guy that the Raiders weren't invested in anymore, were ready to get rid of, and get, hey, it was like, hey, y'all, look, we're going to give y'all this cheeseburger and some fries if you just give us that Coke that you have. All right, bet. Maybe I don't like the burger, but at least I got the fries. I don't like Coke anyway, so you can have it. That's what the Saints did with that 5th-round pick. So I like the opportunity. It addresses a position of need with a guy that's a veteran that you don't have to worry about if he's going to translate or not to the NFL, and see if you could potentially get the most out of him and get him to live up to at least some of the expectation that was placed on his shoulder. Great, great job on that. Then the last 2 picks. Barry Brown, obviously we are all very familiar with him. Yes, LSU did the thing and drafted an LSU player. I'm sorry, the Saints did the thing and drafted an LSU player. At this point in the draft, it was surprising to me that Garrett Nussmeier and Harold Perkins were still both on the board. Cannot believe they fell that far, as well as Aaron Anderson. I thought Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Harold Perkins would have all been gone by now. And of course, Garrett Nussmeier, but clearly not the case. But Barry and Brown, to not only fall, but to land in the lap of the Who Dat Nation was a blessing for all parties involved. Absolutely love that. And then they finish off the draft with TJ Hall, who is a cornerback out of the University of Iowa. And one thing we know about Iowa, they are going to be playing ball. Piercy said they must have had Mickey in the sunken place. They had to, man, because I don't know who was leading this draft, if it was Jeff Ireland, if it was the scouting departments, but brother, they did their thing. Now, and not trading and right, like all of that, like that was a phenomenal thing. Now, TJ Hall is expected to become a backup, right? A reserve, but a special teamer. This is a guy who's going to play special teams. He was a 3rd All Big Ten Conference player. He led the team, with 10 pass breakups. He had 47 tackles and a pick. He missed some games with the shoulder and hand injury in 2025. But look, you got a big guy, a good-sized corner who's going to come up and make tackles and make plays. I expect to see his impact being on special teams to start, and maybe find his way onto the field into a cornerback position as an outside corner, a reserve for Quincy Wiley or Kool-Aid McKinstry. But great job. Great job. Great job on this draft. Hats off to Mickey. Hats off to the staff. Hats off to the team. And let's transition real quick to Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett falls to the 7th round and gets drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs. You hate to see him fall, but it's a blessing in disguise. Garrett now gets the opportunity to go learn from Andy Reid and sit underneath Patrick Mahomes. Garrett already has that gunslinger mentality. Now he gets to learn how to rein that in, still be the most of himself, and not make the bad decisions that would put the offense into poor situations. If Garrett gets an opportunity to showcase his ability, he will get a chance to start somewhere. I have faith. I have faith in Garrett Nussmeier. Because nowhere on God's green earth is somebody going to make me believe that Klubnik and Drew Aller are better prospects than Garrett Nussmeier. I'm sorry. There's no way. So, to you, Garrett, go do your thing, man. Proud of you. Thank you for everything that you did for LSU. And I'm glad that you're in the situation that you're in. Because I wanted to see you go to Arizona to get an opportunity to play early, or a place like Minnesota to get an opportunity to play early. But I think you being able to get your chance to go to Kansas City, sit for a year, maybe two, learn, develop, hone in on your skills. And then when you get that chance, bro, go make the most of it. Congratulations, man. Definitely a special moment. And I'm glad that you were able to see that take into account for you, man. Definitely. Tiger Joker says Kansas City going to turn him into a better draft pick into a few years. Yeah, I could definitely see that taking place. Piercy says happy for Nuss, going to a good situation. Hope he can make the roster so he can stay and learn. Maybe Pat can teach him to move around a little bit. Yep, I think he's going to make the roster. He's going to surprise some people for sure. So let's talk about spring real quick, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Gotta go drop my son off at work, and I got some articles I got to put out today about all the things that we were discussing. So let's talk about this for a second. Spring wrapped up. It's over with. What do we know about this LSU team? Okay, defense and secondary are going to be elite. There's going to be some depth issues along the secondary, but you're seeing the emergence of young guys like Havon Finney and Mansour Delane. So you have high end talent. You still have to add in some players like a Lamar Brown who's coming in this offseason. And once he gets here, that's going to add more depth to that defensive line unit. The defensive line is going to rotate a lot because defensive line should. So you're going to see Deuce Gerald, you're going to see Richard Anderson, you're going to see Stafilian Green, you're going to see Malik Blockton. All these guys are going to play. On the edges, you're going to see Lamar Brown play everywhere. Princewell Mama-Yellen is going to be your starting edge along with Jordan Ross. Jordan Ross is a guy. Get used to hearing his name. He's going to be all over the field. He's going to be, of course, rushing the passer. He's going to be dropping back in coverage because he's an athletic freak. So expect to see him all over the field. Your safeties, you probably have the best DB room in the nation. But between DJ Pickett, PJ Woodland, Ty Benefield, Deshaun Spears, and Tamarcus Cooley, name a DB room better than that. It's a legit no-fly zone. And Paul's no freaky, but Blake Baker's going to get freaky with this defense. This defense, if you thought he was blitzing last year, imagine what he's going to be able to do this year. It was, okay, Blake Baker got some of the pieces he needed. He's got a lot of the pieces he needs now. So, highest paid defensive coordinator in the country is about to prove exactly why he's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. Offense, what have we learned? Bo Bordelon waiting his turn is paying off. He will be your starting left guard. Facts. He will be your starting left guard. He's earned it. He's a road grader. The offense didn't start opening up until Bo Bordelon started emerging. So that's what you need to see. This offense wants to run the ball first. The running game is not working. It kind of throws the play crawling off of rhythm. The ability to move the ball and run the ball in multiple different fashions is what sets this offense off. So, Bo Bordelon, great job developing, sir. So, Jordan Seaton, Bo Bordelon, Braylon Moore, Aluba, and Weston Davis. He's earned it. Weston Davis has not allowed anybody to take his spot, and that should be accounted for. The development that this offensive line is making right now with James Craddock and Eric Wolford, it's the least talked about hires that we had. But like I said, going into spring, that's the two best hires that you made on offense because you needed to see your offensive line room take a step further. I want to see a guy like Solomon Thomas get developed, and I think that he's going to come and compete for good, valuable playing time at some point throughout the season if he can get healthy. Don't know what's wrong. It's been very vague around his injury. Don't know if he's still dealing with the same foot from last year. But that's a 5-star talent we got to see on the field at some point. So let's definitely get there. I'm going to talk more about the UDFAs tomorrow. I didn't talk about the UDFAs tonight because they're still kind of filtering through. Got a lot of update. I got a lot of updates on trackers and profiles I got to get to anyway on those. But I love the pickup of Michael Hellman out of Central Michigan. I like that too. Um, so James Craig and Eric Walford, fantastic. Love it. Love the hire. Love the additions. They are developing these guys, and you're seeing it. You're seeing the fruits of those results already. Great. The wide receiver room. Um, yeah, definitely sad to see Karras Kern, man. Definitely sad to see Karras Kern news, man. But he's got to grow up. There were mature issues taking place here on campus last year. He's got to grow up, man. He's got to. Um, Carl says, "I'll take a box from Canes from Ruiz. I'll take the toast for Cesar Ruiz at this point. Just give me a toast, butter on both sides. That's all. I'll take that. It ain't expensive at all. Just give me a toast, butter on both sides. I'll take that. So, a box combo for Ruiz in this economy, right? Fact. Give me I don't even need the sauce. Just give me the box. Just give me the toast, butter on both sides. So, when you look at the receiver room, right? Eugene Trey Wilson, Roman Mothershed, Winnie Watkins, Jace Brown, Jackson Harris, Trey Brown, Phillip Wright. All of these guys are going to make plays. Your receiver room is deep and explosive. Expect this offense to turn heads. I know people make a lot about Sam Levitt not being here in spring and that he's missing time, developing timing with the receivers. Yeah, I get it. But think about it like this. In the pros, these guys don't start practicing until June, July. Like, they're doing OTAs right now, organized team activities right now, but veteran quarterbacks don't have to show up for that. Sam Levitt is a veteran quarterback. Like, I'm not treating him. Yes, new coach, new offensive system. Guess what? In the NFL, coaching turnover takes place all the time. We can't keep looking at this like it's the old college football. This is semi-pro ball now. The rules of engagement are different. Sam Levitt, being who he is, still studying and being out at practice every day, taking those mental reps, means a lot more than what people think. Being able to see the offense move in the way that it's supposed to move and produce is big. So do not think that he's still not learning and processing the information that he needs to process. And also, LSU has the tools in place so that way he can still get the work that he needs to work. Plain and simple. That VR room is going to pay dividends for Sam Levitt. So we'll be fine. Running backs. Dylan Jones, I will pat myself on the chest and on the back. Called the Dylan Jones thing when he signed and committed to LSU. He is going to be taking snaps as your running back. Caden Durham and Harlem Barrett do things different. But Dylan Jones, when you look at it, he's the running back. Harlem Barrett is a running back, but he's a running back that can be a specialist. Look at this like Lindell White and Reggie Bush. He's going to be your Lindell White. So don't expect to see a lot. Don't be surprised to see a lot of 13 on the field. Plain and simple. He's going to be a guy. This LSU offense came along as it was supposed to. By the end of spring, they were accustomed to what their expectations were, and they started achieving those against a great defense. The defense came out and slapped them around for half the spring, well, for 2/3 of the spring, and then the offense finally got in a rhythm and started punching back. And that's exactly what you want to see. As far as the quarterbacks are concerned, they grew up. Hassan Longstreet will not be your starter. Landon Clark will not be your starter. But if a situation arises, I trust them. And that's exactly what you want to see. So 10-2 was my thing going into this spring. I'm coming out 10-2 as my thing coming out of spring. 10-2 and send Sam Levitt to New York. That's my spring recap. And I'll get into more detail about that as the week goes on. Look, tomorrow night, Heath Schroyer, the senior deputy athletic director of your LSU Fighting Tigers, will be right here on Timeouts and Tangents, joining us live. Not pre-recorded, coming to you live. So if you got questions for Heath, think about it today and tonight. Get your stuff ready for tomorrow. Shoot them in the chat, and we definitely will get those questions off. Please, and look, we're going to talk about it. Senior Deputy Athletic Director, y'all. Let's talk about it all. Baseball, basketball, football, too. We're going to get to know Heath for who he is, being from the East Coast, coming down Louisiana, spending 11 years at McNeese. Doing the things that he's been able to do and accomplish within this community has been phenomenal. Cannot wait to see what he's going to do at Baton Rouge. Will Wade and the basketball department are developing some things right now, some things ongoing to make some announcements. Should see those things popping off in the next days to week. So they got some motion going on around Baton Rouge with basketball. So vibes are high, y'all. It's been a great time. Let's get ready for the baseball game. Let's get ready for the undrafted free agency. Look, football's about to be here. We have OTAs going on. Rookie minicamps are about to start in like a week. Football is back. Football's back. Let's lock in. All right, y'all. I gotta run. I'll be back in here at some point. Y'all gonna see me on the socials. Make sure y'all are following me at Timeouts and Tangents. Subscribe. Like the video and subscribe. And come follow me over on X. Follow me. Follow the Know. Make sure you're following the Know. Definitely got to promote that. Go to the website. Check out the blogs that are being wrote to cover the Saints as well as LSU baseball. And I have an article coming out to discuss the spring and the recap that we have to set us up for summer ball, fall camp, going into that as well. So a lot of great things going on, big moves taking place, and none of that's possible without each of you going on for an hour. I wasn't even expecting it to be that long. So a lot of great things to talk about. We're gonna Ross Jackson will be joining us this week at some point to kind of recap the Saints off season, talk post UDFAs, and get our mind right for the start of training camp and everything. So be looking out for the day and time for that. And like I said, just let's go out and have fun, y'all. Let's do something great. Let's do something great today. Be nice, be kind. Pray for the community around Baton Rouge, around the victims that had to deal with the shooting on Thursday. Definitely want to keep that at the forefront of our minds and praying and lift those people up. Let's make sure that you be a difference. You want to see a difference in the world? Start with yourself. Be the difference that you want to see. Say good morning. Say good evening. Say hello to somebody. It's free. Hold the door open. Hold the door open for someone. All these things are free, and I promise you, it will make a difference and potentially save someone's life. God loves you, like Paul says. God loves you. The only thing he wants you to do is love him back. And the best way to show that love is by being kind to someone else. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here with me this morning, and look forward to seeing y'all later. Y'all have a great, great day. Hit me up if you need anything. I'd much rather hear about your problems than hear about you being overwhelmed by your problems. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm always here. Love y'all.